the author of Get Off the Cycle and Run. So we're gonna wait. Hey, can you?
I'm here.
Okay,
Hello, hello.
I can hear you. I didn't know if you were like gonna mime the whole interview or what. Okay,
I
okay.
didn't hear anything. This is
Oh,
my
okay.
first time going on IG Live, so hopefully this works out well.
Oh, you're a newbie. That's okay.
I'm a
That's
newbie.
okay.
I'm a
Okay.
newbie.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today for Casual Conversations.
Thank you.
I'm excited to talk about your book, Get Off the Cycle and Run.
I wrote a book. I
I
got
don't
a
know.
book.
Well, it could be somebody else. I mean, I don't know how many people. A
Let me
lot of
see.
people
Is there
have
a
your
picture
name.
on there?
I don't
Is there
know
a
if it
picture
has.
on there?
It actually doesn't look like you though.
I'm the funny looking one. So whoever wrote
Oh,
that was a smart guy probably. But
yeah. This
thank you
guy,
for
this
having
guy looks really professional.
me.
Okay. So, well, tell me. Well, let's just start. Like, so I want people to kind of get to know you a little bit.
Yes,
So,
that's fun.
where do you live? I mean, where do you reside? Right.
I live in a beautiful place that we love to call Charm City. Charm City is the nickname for a place known as Baltimore. Baltimore gets a bad rap.
Mm,
Baltimore is like the place, that part of your house that you always just kind of shove stuff in. Probably not you, because
yeah.
Jay Branch, y'all, is probably a perfectionist when it comes to keeping tidy. But most regular folk got that one closet or that shelf or that table that's just stacked
Yeah.
with envelopes and papers. So Baltimore has a knack for showing that table, that section to the rest of
Okay.
the world.
Okay.
And all of the like neat stuff with the little china cabinet and the great neighborhoods and the kids playing at the park. We just can't seem to get positive exposure. So every time I get a chance to say something good and beautiful about the city I was born in, I spent part of my childhood in, that I came back to, I like to big it up. So yes, I live in Baltimore, Maryland.
You already know what I'm about to say. Okay, so you live in Baltimore, Charm City, but
I
you
do.
haven't lived there for all your life. You did move away.
Yes,
So can
there
you
was.
give some props to the place that you moved away to? I'm just
Yes,
saying.
I can. Yes, I can. So I spent years in a place that also has a nickname. Some people call it River City, is Jacksonville, Florida. Some people call it the First Coast. Uh,
Okay.
and it is in the top part of Florida. For those of you that don't know exactly where it is, but if you ever heard of the Jaguars, you know about Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Um, and I spent some great years there. I rode my bike a lot. As a matter of fact, there's a couple references to me riding a bike, and
Hmm.
some of those references actually were in Jacksonville.
Okay.
Um, so yes, Jacksonville was great. I'm actually going there in a little bit because my mama's still there, and my mama's in the book too. So I think this is just a big old tell-all. I think I just kind of took the pen and sat on my laptop and was like, I'm telling everything. But
Yeah.
I changed some names and some events to protect the innocent, like me. I'm definitely one of them. But yeah, it was a great thing. It was a great time, and I enjoyed Jacksonville. I enjoyed writing the book. I enjoyed riding my bike down there. For those of you that know anything about Jayville, I lived in Riverside, Avondale. I also
Okay.
lived in Orange Park. I also lived in the projects called Hollybrook, not too far away from King Street. So yeah, I had
Oh.
a little bit of time. I also lived in the city rescue mission downtown Jayville. So yeah, I know a little bit about Jacksonville as well.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay, I'm learning a
Yes,
lot. So,
yes,
okay, let's. So you mentioned the book, right?
yes.
So, how did the book come about?
I was bored one day and I just decided to become a best-selling author. No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no,
wow,
no,
that's all.
no, no,
Okay.
no. I wish that was my story. Actually, what happened was, so the book is called "Get Off the Cycle and Run,"
Yes.
right? And it's it's about better thinking, better decision making, better habits. Hold up my laptop. I'm trying to record me talk to you while I hold my phone. It's too much
Okay.
technology going on, but it's called Get Off the Cycle and Run. And the idea behind the book is, what are some of the habits or patterns or behaviors that we all have?
Mm-hmm.
Relationships that we go back to, just different things that we do that are kind of cycles in our life that may or may not be as productive. And the reason why I use the word productive, Jay Branch, is because it doesn't mean that things are bad, right? It just may not be helpful right now for where I am. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So really kind of being intentional and really sitting down and being like, do I need to say this thing? Do I need to go here? Do I need to be a part of that? am I even aware that my activity, my actions are perpetuating outcomes that I'm not really happy with?
Okay.
And that's hard. I've been dealing with that a whole bunch. And so, but that wasn't the idea to write the book. The idea to write the book came from my mama.
Hmm.
So my mama, who was down in Florida, I have two younger sisters,
Okay.
and my sisters, my mom became like this Kool-Aid mom after I graduated. So when I was younger, coming up, when I was a teenager, stuff like that, before I graduated high school, she didn't want us to go nowhere. She didn't want us to do nothing. It was just like, no, it was shut down.
Mm-hmm.
When I left and I came back to Baltimore for college, she became the type of person that was like, anybody can do anything. I want you all here. She really built a relationship with my sisters.
Okay.
Well, that relationship extended to my sister's friends. And she became everybody mama, right? She helped those girls through so much because she lived a lot of life. And so in helping them, she realized patterns. You and
Mm-hmm.
your friends, y'all doing the same stuff. Let me help you out. Y'all actually doing the same stuff that I used to do. Let me help you out. Y'all doing the same stuff that your mom and them used to do. Let me help you not repeat the same cycles. Well, she called me one day because if she felt like it wasn't working, she was agitated. She was, if I can say, she was pissed off. She was done. And she called me, and her voice was at level like, scale of 1 to 10. She was like at a 12. She was talking fast. She was frustrated.
Yeah.
Um, and what she said basically was, these girls are doing the same thing. We talked about this. We done prayed. We done cried. We done tried. We done argued. We done fought. We done fussed. We done done all this stuff. And they keep doing the same things. I'm so sick of them. Somebody just need to break these cycles. Who's going to do it? We can't. She was just a mile a minute. I'm just listening like, yeah, ma, yeah, ma, yeah, ma. Yeah. And she said, somebody needs to break the cycle. Who's just going to get off the cycle and run?
Mm.
In my mind, because I'm touched in the head and I'm special,
You said touched in the
I,
head. Okay.
I saw in my mind's eye like a person on like an exercise bike, and they were
Okay.
spinning and they were pumping and they were working and they were trying on this exercise bike. They weren't
Mm-hmm.
going anywhere. Right, all of that effort was right there.
Okay.
Then they got off that bike and used that same energy and that same effort and that same muscle, that same all of that to run, and they took off. So I
Mm.
saw it in my head, kind of like a play out of it.
Yeah.
And so my mom was like, "Are you listening?" I'm like, "Yeah, mom." But I'm really thinking about this. And she kept saying some more stuff that I'm sure I remember if I really thought about it. But I was thinking about that, thinking about how that just is like a life. And I was like, man, that's really interesting. And she was like, you just need to write a book, and because people just need to hear about this.
Mm.
I was like, oh man. And so I was like, I guess I could, because I was seeing this like in my head, like all of these like little bike parallels to life.
Yeah.
Branch, I sat down, opened this laptop, the same little laptop I'm trying to record on right now. Little laptop. Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
Sat down on this laptop. I opened it up and I started writing. And when I tell you, you know how the Matrix, when they stuck that thing in that dude's head and he was
Yes.
like, I know jujitsu. I know how to fly a
Mm-hmm.
helicopter. That's what it felt like. It felt like all of a sudden, like all of this that I didn't even think about started pouring out. I just was writing. And I was like, well, a bike is a lot like life, because, these patterns repeat, you're pushing it. But the pedals, that's what drives you. It's your passion. So if you're doing something and you're dead on the inside and you're just going through the motion,
Mm-hmm.
you might do better to get off that cycle, get out that pattern, get out that relationship,
Yeah.
and use it to run. Or the steering, that handlebars, that's for control. So if you're in a situation and you don't have no say so in it, you just going along for the ride, that might not be maybe a healthy situation for you. You may need to get off of that cycle and run, and just all sorts of things. The bike frame is too big. Well, what are we taking on that's more than we can chew?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm scared to say no. I'm scared to say yes. I'm scared to let people
Right.
down. So I get on this cycle. I enter into this thing now that I'm on, and anything I do, I'm gonna end up falling and really hurting myself, because
Yeah.
I wasn't big enough to not enter it in the beginning. I mean, it was just so many different things and different types of cycles and motorcycles, and
It
I
was
mean, you
good.
name it. So
Yeah.
it was.
So a couple cycles I could relate to, either
Yeah.
currently or I've been in. The
Yeah.
one that I relate to right now is the tricycle big wheel. First of all, I love my big wheel when I was growing up, so that may have something to do with it. But
That was mine.
when I
That's so
read that one,
true.
I feel like, like I love my big wheel. I love my
Wait,
tricycle.
you
I
gotta
love this.
tell them about you gotta
I
tell them the
am.
parallel. So, okay,
I know.
okay,
I'm getting there. I'm
okay.
getting there.
They don't know what we
I
talking
love it.
about.
And
Okay.
like, well, for me, maybe I read it wrong, but she'll correct me, right? So, it's very comfortable, right? But I've
Yes.
outgrown this season of my life. I've outgrown, yeah, this season of my
Yeah.
life. And
That's
for
it.
me, I feel like I'm being pushed to get off and like upgrade to a
Yeah.
10 speed or something. And I don't feel like I'm ready, but I really am. Like I've just
Mm,
outgrown it. And so that's the cycle that I feel like I'm trying to get out of. But
that's a good one.
I love the comfort, and I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people could relate to that. As we like comfort, we don't want to step
Yeah.
outside of our comfort zone.
We're used to it. I heard this one person say that just because it's normal for me doesn't mean it's healthy for me,
Mm,
and that stuck to my head because if we grow up watching people yell and cuss and fight and
yeah.
throw stuff across the room since we've been here, that's normal. But
Hmm.
that norm don't necessarily mean it's functional, it's profitable, it's healthy.
Yeah.
And so that familiarity factor is a very real thing. And so that the thing about the parallel with the tricycle and the big wheel, for those that haven't read the book yet, but probably gonna love it as soon as they get it,
Yes.
is we get that big wheel and that tricycle, same kind of concept when we
Yeah.
real small. We grow up with it. It's fun. It feels
Hmm.
good. We're used to it. It's our favorite. It's mine. But we grow and we have some experiences and we go to second grade, we go to 10th grade, and we don't look right hopping our big old butts on that thing no more. But it was given to me. I done had this my whole life. It's
Mm,
mine. Don't tell me I can't, because this is my stuff. Don't tell me
yeah.
whatever. And the thing about it is, it's not even that people are maybe trying to take something away from us. We don't fit that. No, like you just said, it don't fit you no more. It's actually holding you back. So
Yeah.
you're a person trying to ride the bikes with everybody else that's in their cycles of life. And
Hmm.
everybody wants something that makes some sense. And we right next to them, tiny pedaling, right?
Yeah.
Hunched over, looking ridiculous. With our attitudes, with our smart mouth,
Yeah.
with our defense mechanisms, with our shyness, with our loudness and jokes that cover up insecurities, with our inability to focus and be diligent to pay
Yes.
attention to detail, which has been a big part of my own problem for a lot of years. If I could
Okay.
just be transparent, all of those things matter so much,
Hmm.
and so it's easy to be like, that's just how I am.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's just me. Like, don't tell me nothing. And we
Yes.
really are the reason that we're holding ourselves back.
Okay, so the reason I'm like about to burst at the seams is because you were touching on a talk that I had the opportunity to go give that dealt with hurts, and
Right.
one of the thing it was dealing with like our hurts and the healing and how it affects our purpose. But one of the things that I mentioned in the talk is the mentality that we have. Well, this is just kind of how I am, whether
Mm,
it's
mm.
insecurities or whatever. So in thinking about our talk today, I started to think about my talk and just kind of
Yes.
wondering, like, man, when we have hurts, like unaddressed hurts, and I call them, they become infected and they begin to manifest themselves in our personalities, our
Infected.
behaviors.
That's
You
nice.
know,
Mm.
how I'm thinking, I was thinking that these things, these hurts unaddressed, can
Yeah.
cause us to find ourselves in one of these cycles that you mentioned in your book, right?
Yeah.
And also we struggle to get out of them because they're a pattern. It's the way
Right.
that we've been for so long because
Always
this
operated like this.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, yeah, you're hitting on something that's kind of a big thing
So you
right
know
now.
what that means?
What's that?
You know what it means that either means we both crazy or we're both kind of in line to what so many of us need
Yes.
right about right now.
Yeah,
I like to think
absolutely.
we're crazy. I mean,
I mean, we can let
I
people
mean,
take a vote, but I want to believe that it's what people need. I'm not gonna go with the crazy. You could be crazy, and I'm giving people a vote.
not you.
No, that you can have that. So I think that's awesome. So, for you personally, if you don't mind, is there a cycle that you found yourself in at one point in life? I'm sure there's more than one, but maybe there's one that you really
Can
struggled
I
to get
be?
out of.
Can I embarrass myself?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
and
We
say
like authenticity.
um, almost all of them. So the issue, which is a good thing, right? Was I personally identified with every one of those goddamn examples. You know what I mean? So it's one thing for somebody to tell you about some stuff that don't affect them. Oh yeah, man, try that, man. That's good, man. You shoot. And they ain't tasted it. They don't know nothing about it. They don't know nothing about the texture. I had the
Yeah.
opportunity. I was in Peru not too long ago, and they were eating guinea pig. And somebody was trying to tell me I just need to go ahead and try it because it was really tasty and it tastes like chicken. And I was like, what part of it tastes like chicken? And
Mm-hmm.
after going back and forth with this guy, I learned that he never had it, but it probably tastes like chicken. And that is
Mm-mm.
not what I did in the book.
Okay.
I tasted all these cycles, right? And
Oh.
each one of them, I kind of explained the analogy and then I
Mm-hmm.
gave a real story. So every single Tom, person, Mary that I named in there are real Toms and Marys. If it's me, I either literally say it's me or I change the name a little bit so I don't, I want y'all to think I'm real crazy. But almost all of them, man. The motorcycle talks about living fast life, being reckless.
Mm-hmm.
I've had periods of my life where I was just a little bit more reckless. Now, maybe not as wild as whatever, but for what I had to lose, for what I
Mm-hmm.
had to risk for me,
Yeah.
was, if I can say it, it was stupid more
Mm-hmm.
than once.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I've lived that motorcycle life. I've lived the complacency life, and that's the Ferris wheel, which is a very different type of cycle. But just being in this thing where I'm just going through the motions, I'm not in control at all. I'm just in it with
Yeah.
other people, and I lived that life, and I wasn't growing. I had a friend of mine that told me, I'm still a little offended that he said this, but can I say this? Can I say the Bible says? Can I say that?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, the Bible says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend."
Mm.
And I had a friend of mine that told me, he was like, "Rod, you know what? You could be 3 times the man you are if you just buckled down and took a little bit more control of these
Mm.
aspects." I wanted to fight him on site. There was an instant miscommunication between us, a misunderstanding at that point, forevermore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
But the Bible says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend." I'm joking about that. We fought 7 times. No, we didn't even get in a fight about it. But I needed that kick in the butt
Yeah.
because um, I was stuck. What he was talking about, I was on tricycle big wheel stuff. It's
Mm.
how I always done it. It's no big deal. So you name the cycle, and he was like, "Rod, if you just kind of upgraded and dug in a little bit more to the things
Yeah.
that you need to pay attention to." His words were, "You could be 3 times the man you are."
Hmm.
I needed that. I ain't like it. It's
Yeah.
like medicine though. So
Right.
yeah, all of the cycles.
So
Yeah,
that
different things.
that takes me to towards the end of the book. You talk about intervention,
Yeah,
which I really love because one of the tenets for purpose is about embracing ourselves as we embrace
yeah,
other people, just community doing life together. And I
yes,
like the intervention piece because it you touched on being an intervention for someone else, but
hmm,
also when it comes to ourselves, having other
yeah,
people there to
yeah,
help us. And I believe that we aren't created to do life alone. Like we are wired for connection. And
right.
so I loved the intervention aspect of the book because a lot of times
Yeah,
with a lot of I don't know if do you consider this a self help book? I don't want to call it something kind of
yeah,
sort of. Okay.
yeah.
A lot
I
of
would.
times, it's self help, right? So it's how to
Yeah.
help yourself. And you miss that aspect of
How
getting
do I?
people around you. Yeah. Like getting people to help you, but also helping other people. A lot
Yeah,
of books are centered on our own self. And so I
yeah.
love that part about in that of that part in your book. I really did. I thought that was a great
That
touch.
was that one was a real one because it takes a certain amount of humility to
Mm-hmm.
ask to first of all, in order to ask for help, I got to recognize that some stuff that I'm doing every day, every week, every month, regularly,
Yeah.
ain't necessarily profitable for me. And I ain't even talking about money.
Right, right.
I've lived periods of my life where I felt like there's a song out right now, it's real popular, and the hook of the song over and over says, "Can't nobody tell me nothing." And when you know you right, when
Is
you
that
know
a
that you
gospel
right,
song? I don't know
it,
that one.
listen, it done spoke it speaks to souls. It might as well.
Okay.
But can't nobody tell. And so when you get to a point, man, I heard this other man say, when I was younger, still when I was in Jacksonville, Florida.
We've
Shout out
all
to
okay. Mm-hmm.
when I was in Jacksonville, Florida. He said the word grown is a cuss word for Christians. What do you mean? He's like, that's a cuss word for Christians. He was like, the Bible, he was like, Jesus come that we could have life. Everything about that Bible back to front is about us having life and life more abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
He said, anything that's grown is finished. It ain't growing no more. Anything that ain't growing no more here is done. And when you don't have no more life in you, that is the essence of being dead. He was like, so when you get to the point where can't nobody tell you nothing because you grown, what you're speaking out is I'm finished. I don't have the life. I'm good right now where I am at. I never processed that before, and I think about that as it relates to I know I'm right so many times, and being humble enough to be like I was wrong and apologizing and trying to do things to make it better. And also asking for assistance. All of that takes some dying to self. All of that, I think that's a different type of taking up cross. I think that all of us can feel really good about, man, I just got to struggle on for the Lord because I feel like a hero. Y'all don't understand my walk, my dedication. I got to get up early, got to stay up late, I got to do the things. But what if you got to go apologize?
Yeah.
What if you just got to just sit down? And what if you got to go tell them I messed up and I need some help? Stuff is hard. So yeah, that intervention part.
I'm laughing because of what you said, of how you said sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah, it took me back to my grandma. Okay, yeah. Sit down. Okay. That was good. Yes.
Yeah.
So what is one big takeaway, I guess, from the book? I mean, I know
you know what I've been learning recently? Okay. It's funny for me to say that because a person would think, well, you wrote the book. How you learn anything from it? When I first got the book, they send you like a proof copy.
Yeah.
And I got the little proof copy, Jay, and I'm highlighting and writing in the book. I found myself highlighting in the book as if it was brand new. Like, oh man, I need to. Oh goodness gracious,
who wrote this?
And I think it's because when I was being like the conduit, have you ever played an instrument?
No.
All right, so the trumpet, I used to play the trumpet. The trumpet is a big gold, brass, yellow body, right? And it has this little silver mouthpiece that connects your lips to the horn. And that part can come out. The rest of the horn is one big piece.
Okay.
And so you take that mouthpiece and you put it on there, and you're able to take whatever's in here, put it through that mouthpiece, and put it throughout the instrument for whatever the purpose is serving. I felt a little bit like a conduit, like a mouthpiece when I was writing it. So I think when that air passes from the lips through the mouthpiece, it's just a pass through. It's just it's nothing staying in that. So I think when I was writing, like, oh, goodness gracious, I don't know how much stuck, if that makes sense. So when I had to turn around and sit back and kind of ingest it and take it in, I was able to eat it for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it stuck. What I'm saying now is one of the things that I've learned, my big takeaway is there's something in Ecclesiastes that says it's a time to plant, it's time to sow, it's time to pick up, time to put down, time to make alive, time to kill, time to all of this kind of stuff, right? Well, those cycles, in and of itself, that tricycle ain't bad. In and of itself, the exercise bike ain't bad, because if I intentionally in real life am not trying to go anywhere, I actually need something that can be in my apartment or help me stay focused to give me the workout that I need. So it's not the exercises bikes are fake versions of bike. They might be really helpful. But if I think in my mind that I'm finna hop on that exercise bike and go up the street around the corner, I'm deluding myself. And so our problem is we take relationships that's not designed to go nowhere and think they take us up and around to a new and different and better life. That's delusional. right? That's not allowing us to really see and discern what's really going on. So calming back down and being like, where am I?
Mm.
Where is God trying to take me in my life? How do I use the tools, the resources, the relationships that he's given me to accomplish that, to get there? And am I using them right? I know I keep saying a lot. There's a parable about talents.
You read the Bible? I'm joking.
I read it like
Once or twice.
so. There's a parable about talents, right? And so Jesus was sharing a parable. Everybody probably know this story, right? So the dad has three sons. He goes away on a big trip. He passes out the talents. He gives the youngest brother a little bit, the middle brother bigger size, the biggest brother a whole bunch. He goes away. He comes back. He's like, hey, give my money, right? What y'all do with the stuff? Little brother was like, I was good. I ain't want to lose it because I know how you are, daddy. I know how I am. I'm still growing and maturing. I took my little bit. I buried it. It's safe. He's like, okay, get to me. I got it. The middle child was like, I was a little bit, I kind of took it. I was able to do some stuff with it. I got a little bit more. Here you go, dad. Here's yours plus some. He's like, good job, son. The big brother was like, dad, I took this. I've been paying attention, such and such. Not only did I invest it and do some other stuff with it, I got a whole big old return. I've really been paying attention. He was like, great job. He's like, little man, give your piece that you put in the ground. Ain't do nothing with the talents that I gave you. Give it to your brother, your biggest brother, because I forgot. I want to quote it, but I don't want to mess it up. But basically, the
You can
idea.
paraphrase.
I'm a paraphrase. That if we're given stuff, if I give you
Yeah.
something and you don't value it enough to put it to use, you just want to sit it over there. I give you an umbrella, you don't never take it out. Give it back. I'm gonna give it to somebody that's gonna keep themselves from getting wet. I'm gonna take that car. I'm gonna take that voice. I'm gonna take that intelligence. I'm gonna take that ability to connect with other people. I'm gonna take that ability to figure out. You're not using it. There's people out there that could really, I gave it to you for others to benefit. You're not
Absolutely.
using it. So give
Yeah.
it back. So I'm trying to get to the place where, I utilize all of the talents, all of the cycles, all of the relationships for the purpose that they were designed for,
Yes.
because I believe they all are purpose for a purpose.
Oh, I like that. That sounds good. That has a ring to it.
Had a ring to it.
It did, didn't it? Yes. I mean, so I know we're talking about cycles, and it kind of comes across. I don't want people to think that the cycles are necessarily negative, and you touched on that,
Yeah.
just in our conversation. But there are healthy cycles, and you talk about
Yeah.
that in the book. Do you want
Yeah.
to?
Healthy cycles. Absolutely. Absolutely. So in one part of the book, I talk about how, like, for example, a 10 speed got so many gears. It's so complicated. There's so many inner workings. It's multiple this and multiple that.
Mm-hmm.
Hand brakes, and it's just a brand new kind of thing. And a lot of times we don't know how to use that, right? We used our regular old little bike. And so we end up working too hard, popping the chain off, not using it effectively. And it's a cycle that doesn't work well for us.
Yeah.
However, that cycle was designed to be nimble for when things are dense. So there's some habits, there are some patterns, there are some routines that we can discipline ourselves, that we can move through life. The Bible talks about writing a vision and making it plain, right?
Yeah.
So instead of just being willy-nilly, literally going through and saying, what's the strategy? What gear do I need to tackle this hill, to tackle this mountain, to tackle this situation? So that's a version of the healthy cycle. A motorcycle allows you to go quickly, pick up, and go, right? Yes, it's loud, and yes, it can be dangerous, but when used properly with the proper safeguards, it's very fuel efficient, right? And you can't take a whole bunch of stuff with you. So if I know that I'm not gonna be a bag lady, shout out to Erica Badu, I'm not gonna take my luggage and my dirt with me, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna utilize this access to kind of get on and go to where I need to go. That's a good resource. Those are good relationships, habits, patterns, and behaviors. So all of the cycles actually have value if we understand what they were designed for.
Yeah. So when you say that, it makes me. Do you think that maybe some of the issues that we face in life, whether it's cycles or let's say hurts, that we
Yes.
just are failing to be introspective, to slow down, to stop and really evaluate what's going on, with us, like the choices that we're making. Because you said that, just being very intentional and purposeful with the things that we're doing with our relationships, like asking the
Yeah.
question, why? Like, well, why
Yeah.
do I react like this? Why do I, do these certain things? I mean, do you think that that's part of maybe what we're missing?
You know why I think that's yes. And you want to know why I think that? The Bible says